This is the Analysis in Chains with Nathan Williams and Neil Kieran.
Welcome to Analysis in Chains. I'm Nathan Williams. Neil, how is it going? Are you feeling bullish today?
Hey Nathan, yeah, things are starting to look very bullish out there since we last spoke. I remember last time I was trying to read the tea leaves and find some green shoots to see, will Bitcoin and crypto go back up again? But in recent weeks, wow, Bitcoin is starting to moon again, shall I say.
Yeah, it's nice. Everyone talking about Lambos and moons again. It's like a throwback to 2017.
Yeah, it does. It does smell a bit like 2017, but from a lot of the interviews I'm watching on Bloomberg and different media outlets, there is a consistent theme, which is there's a sense of maturity around crypto, and if we were to compare a lot of the technologies, a lot of the infrastructure between now and then, there's a lot more reason to sort of believe in the hype, because last time we were, I guess, buying into ideas. There were ICOs based on ideas and nothing else, but now a lot of the crypto infrastructure that's been built, you're actually buying into the belief that this is actually going to become something really big.
Tell me, Neil, what is your thought around the instigating factors for pushing this up? Because it was only in the past couple of weeks that we saw any sort of indication that Bitcoin would rebound or go anywhere, and then all of a sudden we get this shooting up to over 8,000 now.
Yeah, I would say there's two key factors. One key statistic I came across that I thought was very interesting was that the amount of money being invested in crypto infrastructure was relatively high compared to the market cap of all crypto. And the last time that happened was when Bitcoin last dipped before its bull run in 2017. So what that means is that there's way more money going into companies than there is into buying crypto. And so that is an indicator of when things are bottomed out. So I think that was a key thing. In other words, that with so much money going into crypto, so much development in crypto, is inevitable that the prices of crypto would soon follow. The other factor that I really think has helped crypto in recent weeks is actually Donald Trump, because I think people, when people first get into Bitcoin and talk about why they love Bitcoin and crypto, and then they talk about governments and lack of trust in governments and what have you. Well, it's no coincidence that when Donald Trump stoked up, I say, trade tensions, that's when we start to see Bitcoin go parabolic. And a lot of the issues surrounding, I would say, I guess what were some of the main reasons why Bitcoin will have gone up is because you have a lot of Chinese people trying to get their yuan out of China, because it's very hard to convert yuan into other currencies and US dollar. And what we saw was that the yuan was devaluing at the same rate that Bitcoin was actually appreciating, which would suggest that people are just trying to protect their wealth in China. And I think that with trade tensions, actually, this could be very good for Bitcoin, and it's one of the first key indicators that actually, yes, Bitcoin is now developing true haven status, and especially when we compare it to gold, because gold did not appreciate as much as Bitcoin did during this period.
I find it so interesting because this is what everyone had predicted 2 years ago, a year ago, and it never came true. And maybe if you keep making the same prediction over and over and over again, at some point you end up being proven right. It'll rain tomorrow. It'll rain tomorrow. It'll rain tomorrow. 3 years later, I told you so. But here we have a prime example of an inverse relationship to crypto price and general market stability. And who knows if this will be a continuing pattern in the future, but it's just interesting that we've seen it play out at least once.
Exactly. But I think there's two key factors why it is playing out. One key factor is that Bitcoin infrastructure. We have to remember in 2017, when the mania was happening, it was Bitcoin was incredibly slow whenever you wanted to transfer Bitcoin, say from one wallet to another or to an exchange to another wallet. So I bought Bitcoin recently and I was like, wow, when I was transferring it from exchange to wallet, I was like, this is super quick, much quicker than I experienced in the past. So that helps a lot with crypto adoption, particularly as a haven asset. And the other factor is that there is now, well, and I believe there's actually less infighting in Bitcoin. So in 2017, you had these forking events, and you had Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Gold, and a lot of uncertainty surrounding the Bitcoin community. Now, I would say Bitcoin
ABC, Bitcoin Cash SV.
Yeah, exactly. And then they end up forking themselves. But now the Bitcoin community seems a lot more solid, a lot more aligned, and because there's going to be better consensus going forward, this should help with the development of Bitcoin. And I believe that is also helping Bitcoin to be more trustworthy as a haven for a lot of these people in recent weeks. So it's kind of like a perfect storm. And if this were to have happened last year in Trump and trade war, or 2 or 3 years ago, maybe we wouldn't see this, say, sharp appreciation in Bitcoin. So it's going to be interesting in the weeks ahead with trade wars possibly escalate, and I think it'll get worse before it get better. And it'll be very interesting to see how Bitcoin will react if things get worse, but also if things get better. Like if there's a deal signed next week, will Bitcoin drop as a result? So this is going to be very interesting to see.
Now, I've got a very sort of personal question to ask you, Neil, because I know that you've purchased Bitcoin in the past. There's probably going to be a lot of people out there who are looking at the Bitcoin price and going, maybe it's time to give it another go. Maybe we should buy some Bitcoin. I myself have played around with Ether, but never with Bitcoin. What wallet do you use?
The wallet I use is I use a Ledger S. I think it's awesome. I think that people should look at wallets like that one or Trezor. I think they're the best places to keep it. I'd rather do that than have it on my mobile phone or use some web application.
Interesting. I know a lot of people who ended up using software wallets or just keep it on an exchange like Coinbase. But I've always been a bit nervous about that, and it's actually been a bit nervous for me, just going, okay, well, I would be interested in maybe getting some Bitcoin and sort of, spreading out my risk a little bit or whatever. It's not like I have piles of it, but, just to be in different aspects of crypto. But these wallets don't necessarily talk to each other. So what you're saying is that for security, you prefer hardware wallets?
Yes, big time.
All right. Well, there we go. I will keep that in mind. Is there any big difference? But is there any big difference between like the earlier hardware wallets and the more recent ones?
Well, for me, it's all based on trusting a brand, and since when I first got into crypto, Trezor and Ledger S were the main two that are providing hardware wallets. And to be honest with you, I haven't looked for any other equivalents. So if there were to be new guys coming into the industry, they will have a mountain to climb because of the brand built up by Trezor and Ledger S. But if there were other ones out there, I don't know who they are. It's not popping up on any AdWords or whatever. Whenever I Google crypto, I don't see them anywhere. But if people were to buy crypto, they would be the two I recommend, and I definitely wouldn't keep it on Coinbase or anywhere else. Particularly when you hear about stories like Quadriga, it goes to show how important it is to make sure you keep it in somewhere safe. And I think hardware wallets are the only real place to go when it comes to Bitcoin.
In this fast-paced news world, people may have forgotten, but a couple of months ago, not even that long ago, Quadriga was an exchange in Canada, I think, where the owner disappeared with a hardware wallet, or was it hardware or whatever, but with the private keys to over $100 million worth of crypto. And so basically everyone who had crypto on that exchange lost their crypto. So if you do decide to get back into the crypto market, get your feet wet again, try loving again the crypto scene, be careful and stay safe. Welcome to the interview portion of our show, Analysis in Chains. So joining me today is my good friend who's been on this show before, David Dippel, the founder and CEO of Demand Films. Demand.film is a blockchain-powered loyalty program and Airbnb of the film industry. David, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Nathan, great to be back talking with you again from down under.
From down under. You're based in Perth, right?
I am indeed.
So the thing is, we've talked a little bit about Demand Film in the past and how you're like the Airbnb of film. People can look at films that they would want to see in their movie theaters and then encourage their friends to demand that the film be shown and screened in areas near their house, and that you've got a loyalty program for it. How has your experience with doing this crypto token and this new model for films been so far since the last time we spoke?
Yeah, so sitting behind the platform is, I'd say, quite a lot of different innovation in the tech space. And, you know, the original portion of that was, you know, borrowed from others, not invented by us, but was just about crowdsourcing audiences and creating a kind of a tipping point, a call to arms, if you will, a sense of urgency to make things happen. And that we've rolled out now in 7 countries and 2,500 cinemas. We then, as we built the application set out, started to capture much more data than previous. And we're using that to build a logistic regression model that predicts whether events are going to happen or not, and we use that decision making to assist our marketing efforts. And then last year we added in a loyalty program called a Screen Cred that is will crosswalk to a crypto token that's currently sitting on the NEM. There's 5 billion of them there waiting for us to execute that, and we created on the Demand Film side a loyalty program that rewards people not just for buying tickets but for sharing information. So we took the idea of, hey, we've been given a lot of money to Facebook, and we have been, to reward the Facebook company, but in fact it's the people on the Facebook who are doing all the work. And so we thought, is there a way to cut out the middleman and to engage with our customers and their friends directly and involve them in the sharing of our content and then rewarding them for doing so. And so people are accumulating Screen Creds at the moment, and at a certain point in time we're going to crosswalk those over to the crypto token.
So tell me, like, how does the crypto token really benefit this? Like, what's the benefit of doing this loyalty program with crypto as opposed to just doing like a standard program, like on an Excel sheet?
That's a great question. Now, Phil Shelper, who's influenced us a lot in our thinking, has written a book on blockchain and loyalty. And I've done a few conferences with him now. We're in regular communication. And I think he really puts forward the idea that by having a genuine crypto token rather than a point system like a frequent flyer point, frees you up from the arbitrary nature of how a company can change its loyalty program on a whim. So I think that's one value of it. The other is, at a certain point, the crypto token will be tied to a free-floating and tradable token, and that most likely now will be a security token. And in that case, then people can sort of have the whole business gamified. So they're earning tokens, and which way are they going? So that increases the likelihood of checking them, accumulating more, and creating a virtuous circle around that.
That's really interesting, because if you think about a lot of traditional loyalty programs, most people will think about airlines, air miles, frequent flyer programs, and how, you know, those tokens or those points tend to erode after a certain amount of time or not roll over year on year.
Yeah.
And a lot of people feel cheated out of that. So I can see the benefit to the customer.
Yes.
What's the incentive for the companies to adopt it? Like, wouldn't that be harder for them because then they actually have to give out the rewards? Isn't it better for the companies to keep all of the money?
Well, except that we commit to marketing for all of our films, and we're either using fiat currency and putting that into Mark Zuckerberg's pocket, or we can, in a more direct transaction, put it into the accounts and the wallets of the people who are doing the partnering with us and actually doing the work.
The reason I wanted to talk to you today, David, is because I know that the Australian government has recently changed laws surrounding equity ownership, and I know that you at Demand Film are moving to take advantage of that with your company and with the crypto token. Can you tell us a little bit about the changes and what it means for you?
Yeah, so certainly in 2018, the Australian federal government enacted legislation to support equity crowdfunding. Now, we're probably a little bit late to the party here. That's already in place in Singapore. It's already in place in the UK. But it's now also present in Australia. We are a public unlisted company here, and so we can take advantage of this. And what that does, it I think, democratizes equity investment. And so those ideals, I think, resonate with the crypto community as well, which is as much about democratization of financial instruments as well. And for us, it also is a natural because we crowdsource all of our films audiences anyway. So we know about this and we believe in it. So we thought, well, why don't we go out to our customer base? And we have 100,000+ people around the world who use our platform and go to our movies and buy tickets, and invite them to be part of this, opening up of our company from an equity perspective.
So that's interesting. So it means that the average person, not necessarily the astute or accredited investor, but the average person can invest in equity even though you're not publicly listed? That
is correct. And so in the range we're looking at is as little as $100 Australian, so $70 US. It might be 68.5 today. I haven't checked it in the last little bit. Up to 10,000 Australian. And you don't need to be a sophisticated investor or, abide by all the rules around that in terms of your own level of wealth or income and the rest of it.
Now, what sort of implications are there for a company like yours in terms of how that relates to crypto? Are you thinking of potentially tokenizing this equity, or will there be like exchange or benefits for in the crypto space or token space around that?
Not at this stage, but what I can say is that people are buying into a company and having equity in that company, and that company itself is involved in the development of a tokenomics and a cryptocurrency. And there will certainly be, for ordinary shareholders of the company, access to offers as we move down the road around a security token. Should we?
That's so some careful wording there. So I see the dance
right
around that yet. So nothing that you can tell us about today, then.
No, well, look, the ASIC, so the Australian Securities Information Commission, I've got to be very clear about what I say and what I don't say. So what I am saying is that the offer at the moment, and there will be a prospectus later this week, so I'd invite people to register for an expression of interest, which actually has no obligation to it whatsoever, and they will get early access to the prospectus, and in the prospectus we will describe the state of the company, where we're at, use of proceeds, what we intend to do, and some forward-looking statements in that document.
So I am interested in in this topic, specifically in how it may be applicable to other companies in your space. So I know that, like, for example, in Switzerland and in Singapore and in other places, they have similar laws where you can start to crowdfund equity, and that what companies have done is used this to create a token that relates to these smaller shares of equity in order to leverage an STO. Is that the sort of thing that can be done under the Australian regulatory change? And do you see other companies doing it?
Yeah, well, I think currently it's just straight equity for ordinary shares in the company. And the company we're working with is called Birchal, Birchal. And they, in turn, in fact, founded a company some years ago called Pozible, which is possible with a Z or a Z. And that company is sort of the Australian Indiegogo or Kickstarter. So we were very attracted to working with them because many films are funded via that company, and so there's a nice crosswalking between, that endeavor and then what we're doing with Birchal on the equity crowdfunding side. What we do as a company in terms of then ordinary shareholders and their access to what we are intending to do with the crypto token, of course, they're in a special club. Because
interesting. So what's been your process with this? Like, how difficult has it been with this new regulatory change? You mentioned filing a prospectus. That's something a lot of crypto companies have been really averse to. And one of the reasons that that they're excited about the idea of an STO or in the old days an ICO, and now I guess IEOs, or EIEIOs, or whatever people are doing now. Have you found that the requirement for a prospectus has been overly difficult for your fundraise?
No, it is not the same as an IPO with the same level of rigor. It is, however, still controlled by legislation, and we're very clear about the statements that we make, the information we provide, and we have to stand by it, right? So, and I have no problem with that level of rigor and that transparency as well, because in the end, as a company, whether you're public or private, you have shareholders. They're investing in you to deliver value back to them, and so it needs to be eyes wide open about that.
Now, one of the things about startups in general, and especially startups in the crypto space, people were excited about doing an ICO in the beginning because it was a faster and easier way of raising money and involving the crowd. You didn't have to go to the big boys. You didn't have over amounts of control from one or two entities, and it was generally a smoother process because people would buy into an idea, and a lot of people could put in, say, $100 into an idea, as opposed to one or two companies putting in 100,000 into something that would require more traction or more indicators. Now, the downside of the ICO craze for the company was that you suddenly had thousands of investors who all wanted up to the minute updates, and so you had these Telegram groups or Discord groups that were constantly going crazy with people asking when Lambo, when Moon, when are you going to put it on Binance? And a lot of my friends were quite frustrated by that and a little bit disillusioned about their desires to change the world with this type of crowdfunding. Now, as opposed to traditional IPOs where you might have a once a year shareholder meeting where you would just talk to everyone at once. Yeah. Now, with this changed law and with this crowdsourced equity that you're doing, what's been your experience so far with dealing with actual investors? Has it been, or do you expect this sort of madhouse of requests and from people that don't care about the company's mission, or do you think that it's going to be a bit more sane than the ICO hooliganism?
Well, I know we're in for a 45-day ride. We've had the expression of interest open now for 10 days, and we've got another week to go. 8 days left, I think, and then we'll have a 30-day fundraising period where the expressions of interest turn into actual commitments, and that will be intense because there'll be lots of questions, as there rightly should be. But then once that period finishes, then what people get is equity in a public company. Even though we're unlisted, we still have obligations about reporting and filing, and we do take seriously regular communication with our investors as well, usually around a quarterly update newsletter.
Wonderful. Well, it sounds very exciting, David. Best of luck going forward on that. And question is, I guess we'll leave with this, how can people get involved?
Oh, easy. Just go to birchal.com.
How do you spell that?
And then look for BIRCHAL.
Birchal.
And Birchal, yes. And then just look for the Demand Film logo and read the story and register.
Wonderful.
For the expression of
Well,
interest.
best of luck. I hope it goes super well, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, Nathan, thanks very much for your continued interest in the journey of the company. Growing a business, raising money, providing value, and staying on the bleeding edge of tech is.
For those of you listening that don't know, David and I met each other for the first time almost 2 years ago, year and a half ago, and we followed along with each other's companies ever since. Even though I'm in mining and metals and David is in film, we followed sort of along with interest in each other. So it's always exciting to hear positive news from your friend.
We are in the film business, and we've got an amazing crypto documentary on the way, which we can talk about at some point.
What's it? When will it be coming?
Mum's the word on that, but I'll arrange an interview for you with the.
That's very nice. That's
very
nice. I look forward to that. So you tease us. All right, a crypto documentary coming up at some point in the near future, and watch this space for it. Gotcha. So have a wonderful day, David. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.